throwing bricks at the police.
Look at this shit, bro. Look at that.
This is our city, and this was Mexico. You can't kick us out of the land that was ours.
What? Yo, they wild.
LA has erupted over the past few days as ICE officials came in and carried out a few raids. The past few days have been wild here on the streets of LA. Cars have been burnt, intersections have been taken over.
Nah, yo, I like watching YouTube, like real YouTubers. Like, let's look at what the news is reporting. We're gonna look at
the streets are.
I want to look at CNN. Let's see what CNN is reporting. I want to see what Fox is reporting, and then let's actually then let's check out. You know what just a regular YouTuber is seeing.
CNN that more than 700 U.S. Marines.
700 U.S. Marines.
700 U.S. Marines have been mobilized to respond to protests in Los Angeles,
Not
some
playing.
of which turned violent over the weekend. One county official called last night, quote, probably one of the most volatile nights in the city's recent history. Police declared all of downtown Los Angeles, an area of about 5 square miles, an unlawful assembly area after a third night of protests turned violent.
Wait, y'all can't hear me? You guys cannot hear me? What the hell? Man, it shows everything is working. All my levels are working. Can y'all confirm? Damn, bro. So, robo-taxi in LA, not a good idea right now.
The Los Angeles police chief late last night saying, quote, this violence that I've seen is disgusting, unquote. Some of the protesters were more angry.
Look at that. That's the Waymo vehicles.
Shot commercial-grade fireworks at law enforcement officers. Others set self-driving cars on fire.
Bro, if you shoot commercial-grade fireworks at a police officer, you're going to prison. You can kill somebody. You should go to prison. This ain't protesting, and people will defend this. Look, I've not been quiet about, you know, that I don't like the way that Trump is dealing with our illegal immigration issues. But I also say, just because you're Latino doesn't mean you're illegal, you know? And then I also think that we need to do a lot better with this whole immigration thing, man. Like, why can't things be merit-based? I was just watching, there's a barber who owns a barber school out here, has a family, 5 kids or something like that, has been here for forever, employs a lot of people, taxpayer. Why can't people like that? What happened to that app where they were supposed to be able to self-deport, but then be expedited back based on certain things, right? Like taxpayer, or works in a certain industry, or owns a business, or whatever it may be. I just don't understand why it has to be so black and white, because that's what this is causing. It's not worth it. There should be some merit-based way where someone who's not a criminal, who's not a felon, who is, you know, contributing to society, who is obviously a value add to our country, we should figure out a way to grandfather them in. But at the same time, the borders can't be wide open. All this fentanyl, you know, seeing how people are getting human trafficked, how children are being split from their parents, people are dying trying to get here. It's scary. It is a problem, but there's got to be more common ground, man. There's got to be some compromise here, because some of these people, I watched another video of this girl on TikTok. She came here when she was 5 years old. She knows legally. She knows no other life. And she's 35 now. She got married, but she didn't rush to get her citizenship because she just felt like she was American. She's been here since she was 5 years old, for 30 years. She's 35 now. And she got married to an American citizen. She had, I think, 4 kids, and she just didn't rush to go get her citizenship. She just kept renewing her green card, and I guess she forgot. Not that she forgot. It's just one of those things where she procrastinated and didn't renew her green card, but she was married, so she didn't think it was a big deal, and she got deported, bro. Imagine, you know, knowing no one in Mexico, having nothing, being deported, starting from scratch. It's pretty scary. You know, these people are American. Like, they're American. You know, at that point, they don't know Mexico. It's another world to them. So there's so many sad stories that are going to come from this. And I just think there was a better way to do it. But, you know, I'm done with my rant. Let's keep watching this. I just wanted y'all to kind of know what my perspective is.
CNN witnessed police using flashbangs and tear gas to disperse crowds. Police arrested 27 people just yesterday alone. All of this
27 people
started on Friday. That's when Immigrations and Customs Enforcement, or ICE, conducted work.
And then this doesn't help either. You're waving a Mexican flag, but you want to be here in America. Like, it just that doesn't help. You're burning American flags. You're waving the Mexican flag. Then why do you want to stay here so bad? Don't you think it should be the other way around? Don't you think if you want to stay here, you should be waving an American flag, saying you are American and blah, blah, like, make it hard for people like Trump to demonize you. But when people can clip these pictures like this, you look like an asshole. You should be deported. This guy right here on the screen should be deported. Absolutely. Absolutely. How stupid is this? You know, I remember listening to DeSantis, the governor here in Florida. He said, what's wrong with deporting people? We're just sending them back home. Why are people acting like we're like that's inhumane? I mean, this guy's proud of being Mexican. He's waving the Mexican flag. He's proud of it. Why is it so wrong for us to send them back home in a flight, on a first class flight back home? You know, like, I get that. I get that argument. This is stupid.
Workplace raids in L.A. The Department of Homeland Security said operations in L.A. last week resulted in the arrest of 118 undocumented immigrants, including 5 gang members and others with prior criminal histories of drug trafficking, assault, cruelty to children, domestic violence, robbery, and alien smuggling. The roots of this aggressive ICE activity last week may have been seen last month when top Trump aide Stephen Miller, sources tell CNN, demanded that immigration agents ramp up deportation efforts and seek to arrest 3,000 undocumented immigrants a day. 3,000. That's triple the number of daily arrests from the early days of Trump's term. In response to the ICE action in LA on Friday, some protesters began gathering outside the Metropolitan Detention Center. But as day turned to night, things got out of hand, not only downtown, but about 10 miles east in Paramount, California. Now, law enforcement says that protesters moved in on them and officers used flashbangs to disperse the crowd. The FBI's Los Angeles field office announced a $50,000 reward for information on a man that the LAPD says assaulted an officer and damaged property. Los Angeles Mayor Karen Bass said ICE gave city officials no warnings of these raids, which made it difficult, if not impossible, to plan for quelling any spontaneous protests. Then on Saturday...
But at the same time, they don't tell sanctuary cities, because what's the city going to do? It's not like they're going to prepare to make things safer. They're going to hide these people. That's why they don't tell you, right? And it's just it's a complex situation.
President Trump took the rare major step of deploying the California National Guard despite the objections of the Democratic governor of California, Gavin Newsom. This was the first time a president called in the National Guard without a state's request or consent since Lyndon Johnson did it in 1965. President Trump yesterday told reporters that any violence against any law enforcement officers is unacceptable.
I have a little statement. They say, they spit, we hit. And I told them, nobody's going to spit on our police officers.
Nah,
nobody's going to spit.
You spitting, if you spitting, you getting your, yeah. You spit, we hit. I absolutely agree with that. I hate when I see people spit on people, bro.
On our military, which they do as a common thing.
Trump offended there by the notion of spitting on police officers or military while protesting immigration enforcement. He says that's not okay. We would be remiss if we did not point out that it was just 4 months ago that the very same president pardoned a different group for beating police officers while storming the U.S. Capitol to object to the 2020 election.
Did he? The people that he, let me see. Were the people that he pardoned, were they hitting police officers?
Results. You will never hear Trump or top deputy Stephen Miller call that attack on January 6, 2021 an insurrection. But Stephen Miller did use that term to describe the protests in Los Angeles, calling it, quote, an insurrection against the laws and sovereignty of the United States. There are quite a few, shall we call them, evolving positions taken by Democrats and Republicans since a year ago. when some Democrats were urging President Biden to federalize the National Guard in Texas to stop that state's Republican governor's anti-immigration, illegal immigration efforts. And the woman who is now our Homeland Security Secretary, then South Dakota Governor Kristi Rome, took to MAGA media and to Twitter to say, quote, if Joe Biden federalizes the National Guard, that would be a direct attack on states' rights, unquote. But be that as it may, we are where we are here, and Republicans would argue that Democrats have played a role in all of this by not enforcing immigration laws for decades, setting the stage for President Trump to begin this aggressive pattern of deportations, which he ran and won on. A new CBS News poll taken before the ICE action in Los Angeles finds that 55% of the Americans polled approve of the goals of Trump's deportation program, but 56% are not sold on the approach he is using to carry it out. CNN's Kyung La is on the ground in Los Angeles for us now with all the latest on how Governor Newsom today is firing back against Trump's actions.
They come for one.
Calm following chaos.
They come for one, they come for all. That's just stupid.
A peaceful protest not far from LA's City Hall.
Hey, hey, hey!
And a strong police presence near the federal building. All of downtown has been declared an unlawful assembly area after hundreds of protesters took to the streets in this part of the city, clashing with local law enforcement and the National Guard. The protest sparked by local immigration raids like this one unfolding across Los Angeles.
Yes.
All right, so that's CNN pretty much reporting. Let's see how Fox does.
We start with this, a Fox News alert yesterday marking the third straight day of riots in California as protesters push back against the Trump administration's illegal immigration crackdown.
Todd Pyro joins us now with the latest. Todd.
Absolute chaos in Los Angeles this weekend as anti-ICE rioters took to the streets in protests of federal immigration raids. Watch. For 3 straight days, we have seen protesters, most of whom were wearing masks to hide their faces, clash with police, throwing just about anything from cinder blocks to hammers.
So, like, you guys remember this was being done by the thousands before the January 6th, because the guy from CNN, he brought up January 6th. Trump didn't feel this way about January 6th, acting like people weren't burning shit down on the other side. They're both stupid. Why can't we just call it that? Regardless of what side you're on, if you're burning shit down, if you're being violent, they're both wrong. Now, I will say this. When they were first reporting January 6th, they were showing, it looked bad. And then you see shit like this. Watch this.
There's security concerns. What is it? That people are going to know the layout of the Capitol is not already public information.
Maybe people know it now. They went through it.
well, sure. But having tapes versus like somebody's day of knowledge that they retain, I think are two different things. If there are, in fact, secrets that aren't already publicly disclosed, fine. And I think, generally speaking, even if there is this obstacle to overcome, having to come and watch the tapes.
I don't even know if that's the one.
Going to try and get compliance, but this is now effectively a riot.
49 hours declaring it a riot.
35 to 50 feet by the Capitol Police.
Like, how did it turn into
trying
this?
To breach and get into the Capitol.
They're so stupid.
50, we have a breach of the Capitol. Breach of the Capitol.
Like, what was the point here? What were you going to accomplish?
We need to hold the doors of the Capitol. I need court support.
What?
We lost the life. Get back.
Why? Why is your old ass there? Whoop his ass. Yeah, it's been crazy. Look, yeah, they're swinging stuff. They're hitting police officers.
They were peaceful people. These were great people. The crowd was unbelievable. And I mentioned the word love. The love in the air. I've never seen anything like it.
So that was pretty bad. But there's also there was also some interesting stuff.
Commutations from President Trump just a few months into his second. One of those defendants has come forward.
At least this Capitol we can defend. We gotta hold what we have.
78 minutes.
In the months since January,
40 millimeters.
A designation that refers to officers armed with M4 semi-automatic rifles.
Yeah, they was wilding out there.
Cruiser 50, be advised that Capitol Police
did that rioters, some of them armed, are about 200 feet away from a window entrance. At 2:03 p.m., a Capitol Police supervisor orders officers to leave their positions near the stairs.
Like stupid heads.
Officers, this way!
At least 22 officers from Unit 42, seen here, are still making their way toward the inaugural platform, more than 20 minutes after Glover's initial call for support.
Yeah, that's wild. But then you got, did y'all see the footage where they were just walking around? Let me see.
Operate peacefully.
Look at this.
The police here are willing to work with us and cooperate peacefully, like our First Amendment allows. Gather more Americans under the condition that they will come and gather peacefully to discuss what needs to be done to save our country.
One other or the other. You need a show. All right. You understand?
Yes.
Then show us no attacking, no assault, remain calm.
We're not going to assault. We're going to be heard. Everybody, this must be peaceful.
This has to be peaceful. We have the right to peacefully assemble. No, this is our chair.
I agree with you, brother, but it's not ours. It belongs to the Vice President of the United States when he's in here. It's not our chair. Look, I love you guys, you're brothers, but we can't be disrespectful.
Don't disrespect. They can steal an election when we can't sit in their chair?
No!
Yeah, this is stupid. Look at them.
It's an IO war. We can't lose the IO war.
We're better than that.
Information operation.
Yeah, them boys slow, bro.
Why haven't you called for backup? Where is your backup? This is our damn Capitol building, and y'all are letting it get destroyed on your watch. Call for backup. Get some help down here. And if they don't want to get you backup, they obviously don't give a shit about you. These people want blood.
Hey, man. Glad to see you guys. You guys are patriots. Look at this guy. He's got covered in blood. God bless you.
I mean, these are the guys he pardoned, right? They weren't the ones. I mean, that people wanted that guy with the flag. They wanted him in prison for life. You can see him walking around with a police officer. They seem peaceful, and it's a taxpayer's building, right? So I get it. I get it, but it did turn ugly. It did turn violent. But that was the first time I seen people on the Republican side, MAGA, get real violent. Was the first time where I'm always seeing in Democratic states, bro. I'm always seeing this shit right here.
Enforcement
always.
In response to ICE arrests throughout the city. It all started Friday night when agents captured what they are calling the worst of the worst. Some of the migrants arrested have been convicted of crimes ranging from assault to drug offenses. One arrest includes a gang member convicted of murder after shooting up a high school graduation party, killing 2 teens and injuring 7 others. By Sunday morning, hundreds of National Guard members were on duty in downtown LA at the request of President Trump, who says he will do whatever he can to bring peace back to the city.
What is the bar for sending Marines?
What I think it is, I mean, if we see danger to our country and to our citizens, we'll be very, very strong in terms of law and order. It's about law and order.
Accuracy read on the feeble, sir. Secretary,
we got to see what we need.
Man, hell yeah, activate the damn Marines. Activate them. I don't care. Activate their ass. All right, look at this. Burning spitting on the flag, burning the flag. Y'all dumb as hell, bro.
You're looking at some of the many scenes, just some of the many scenes. Parts of Los Angeles were a mess over the weekend. You've got immigration raids setting off 3 days of often violent protests that escalated into riots. So good morning, everybody. On a Monday, we'll see where we are now. Hope you enjoyed the weekend. Back into the...
Man, it's look, and you know, some of these people, they have close family members that have been deported, and they're pissed, and they're emotionally, they're emotional. But that's also the type of behavior, man. That ain't God's way, bro. That's also the type of behavior it's a crash out, and people end up losing much more than that. Their family members getting deported, where it's not the end of the world. Like, I get that, and I'm trying to be as empathetic as I possibly can, but I think it better serves people to fight back in getting them back in the country the right way, and supporting them as they're trying to get their feet on the ground while they're back in the country they got deported, and especially the ones that, man, they were raised here in America. I just can't imagine, the situation that they're in, and people are pissed off. But burning the flag, spitting on it, tearing down your city. Just don't make no sense, bro.
Jonathan, where are we now? Hello.
And why do you think they got sent out here today?
They got sent because we don't have a president that can lead.
And what fears you most about Donald Trump and the ICE raids coming through here in Los Angeles?
I don't fear that motherfucker. Have you seen our community? I don't feel that motherfucker.
Donald Trump, homeboy on a motherfucking real that piece of shit.
What's the water for?
Diffuse tear gas. If needed. Yeah. If you throw a canister in one of these, it should diffuse it enough, or at least stop the chemical reaction.
And what makes you want to come out here with the Honduras flag out here?
I mean, these are my roots right here, you know? This is where my family came from. I'm a first gen.
A lot of people wonder on social media, why are people coming out here with other nationalities' flags? If they don't like America, why don't they go back to
I love America and what it represents. You know, the idea of America to our people is a better future and an opportunity to have a job and create something that in our homes we don't have. You know, so we love America. We want to be here. We want to contribute, you know, and I agree. The people that have committed crimes and, you know, like an actual crime of, you know, murder, something like that, I can agree with that.
Yeah, he's based.
You know, I'm not going to be a hypocrite and say, no, keep everybody here. Yeah. But the people who are here, hardworking people.
Right now, do you think it's right for them?
I agree with him on that, man. It's just, you know, I also don't think this helps the situation. But then again, you know, like, I don't think it's going to stop Trump, but we'll see.
Them to go after the most dangerous people like they say they're doing?
I mean, I don't see nobody here has attacked them. And they initiated all of this. We're peacefully protesting. They're the ones that come out with.
Bro, you guys are burning Waymo vehicles, spray painting federal buildings. You're damaging public property. That's not peaceful. Why do people keep saying dumb shit like that? That's not peaceful.
Riot shields, they come out with billy clubs and all kinds of shit. I don't know who's the aggressor here, but it ain't us.
You! I can't wait to know you! Take off your badge, big boy! Take off your badge! Coward! Get that shit in my fucking face!
Okay. That guy's yelling at the ICE officials for being a coward for wearing a mask. Meanwhile, he also has a mask on. What's your message to the police officers in the National Guard right now?
They've got a choice. They've got a choice.
I ain't gonna lie, he got shook.
They don't have to do this fucking shit. That's it. They can either be American citizens or they can be what they're doing right now.
You don't think they're acting like as American citizens?
No.
Do you think they're trying to protect the country or make it a more dangerous place?
What do you mean? Like, this is way, way beyond what it needs to be.
Something's about to break out real soon. If these people keep taunting the police officers with all these other flags, all these other words they're saying to these police officers and National Guard, something's about to happen.
You guys didn't know it! You guys suck! Donald Trump!
I can tell you're very upset.
Of course we are. Yeah. We feel some burning in the eyes right now. Upon arrival here, everybody be prepared. We still fight for the legalization of all in occupied territories. This was indigenous land. This was Mexico. This is our fucking turf. F these motherfuckers. Free them all! Stolen people.
It's just dumb, bro. What kind of logic is that, bro? It's just dumb.
Stolen land. Black people were stolen. And it was taken from the indigenous. Stolen people, stolen land.
What's your message to ICE and to the federal government today?
Just the message just straight up is just this government is fucking corrupt as fuck. People need to fucking start realizing that shit. And fucking, we need a fucking factory reset. We need some justice up in here. Just for everybody. Straight the fuck up, you know what I mean?
You have lots of tattoos, and people oftentimes interpret tattoos with being part of a gangs and whatnot.
Oh, yeah.
Have you been checked for gangs or anything like that?
Yeah, I'm focused on some other shit right now. I'm not worried about that, though. You know?
You're not worried about that? So essentially all that's happening right now is that ICE, police, DHS, and the National Guard are just holding a line here outside this federal building. Protesters haven't gone back at the police quite yet. We'll see what happens. Could be happening very soon.
This was our land. All this is stolen. And what? Now we're fucking illegal here.
We're gonna die.
Are you fucking kidding me? You're not fighting for. You're not fighting for this.
So I'm saying, like, there's people who are really protesting stuff that makes sense. This dumb shit does not make any sense. And it's what's Trump gonna be like? You're right. Let's give this land back to Mexico. California is now Mexico. Come on, bro. Like, the whole argument is dumb.
Country.
We're gonna dox you. We're gonna dox you. We're gonna dox you.
Yeah. So cancel culture, dox people. That's awesome.
I love this flag right here.
You just said you love that flag right there. What's your favorite thing about the Mexican flag?
Shut your ass.
Now the police are shooting.
Damn, they shooting.
Stand your fucking ground no matter what.
National Guard has now been activated. They've left their spots. They're pushing everybody back. Holy crap! People are getting shot right now.
That's why you need a mask.
It's got this guy out here shooting silly string at the police officer. Shots are being fired. All sorts of stuff are happening right now here on the streets of LA.
You are the rioters! You are the rioters! Fuck you!
Damn, shot that boy.
So these are what they're shooting at the protesters.
Rubber bullets.
Right here. These are powerful. They're coming out and they're ricocheting everywhere.
I'm done. I'm done.
As a protester, do you feel like you guys are accomplishing your purpose out here today?
I don't know who you are, man. I'm not talking to you.
Wait, so what happened to this guy right here?
He got hit with a rubber bullet.
Okay, I'm not scared.
Donald Trump! Donald Trump! Fascism!
Man, all right, let's. Man, that's crazy, bro. What a world we're in, bro. What a world we're in, guys.